Welcome to section 6.3 of geometry, proving parallelograms. And we're going to start off this section with a little joke. Okay, here we go. What do you call a crushed angle? A rectangle. Get it? Rectangle, rectangle. Okay, so we're going to start by reviewing the 4 conditions for parallelograms. And you will find these in your section 6.2 notes. So the first condition that we're going to talk about is opposite sides are congruent. Second condition, opposite angles are congruent as well. The third one, consecutive angles these are supplementary. And the last condition is diagonals bisect each other. So review and study these 4. Okay, so let's start our practice problems. Now, in order to do our practice problems, we're going to apply those same 4 conditions that we just wrote down. A says, show that JKLM is a parallelogram for when A is 3 and B is 9. Well, in order to do that, look to see where A is. And A is a variable on opposite sides. So if JKLM is a parallelogram, then that means that opposite sides should be parallel. And let's see if we get the same length. So J to K. If I plug in 3 in place of A, it should give me the same value, hopefully, as the distance from L to M. Well, 15 times 3 is 45. And then I have minus 11, and I get 34. Now let's find the length from LM. I'm going to plug A in for 3 there. So 10, or I'm sorry, I'm going to plug 3 in for A. 10 times 3 plus 4. That's 30 plus 4, which is 34. So at least we found that one pair of opposite sides are congruent. So I go ahead and I mark them congruent in my diagram. Now we need to check that the other sides are also the same length. Let's find the length for segment KL. But now for B, I'm going to plug in 9. So I have 5 times 9 plus 6. Well, 5 times 9 is 45. If I add 6 to that, I get 51. Let's do the same for length or segment JM. Plug in 9 for B. 8 times 9 is 72. I need to subtract 21. And I see that the length of segment JM is also 51 units. So yes, JKLM is a parallelogram because opposite sides are congruent. So practice B says it show that PQRS is a parallelogram for x equals 10 and y equals 6.5. So again, I want to use those 4 conditions that we talked about before, but this time I'm focusing on angles. Now, if you remember for angles, you need to check that consecutive angles are supplementary and opposite angles are congruent. And we notice that Q and S are opposite, so hopefully we find that they are congruent. And then R and S and R and Q are consecutive, so those pairs need to add up to 180. Alright, so let's check first of all that S and Q are congruent. And we're going to do that by plugging in 6.5 for Y. So we're going to find the measure of angle Q first. So I do 6 times 6.5 plus 7. Well, 6.5 times 6, let's say that would be 36, 39, plus 7. So I get 46. Now let's do the measure of angle S. So I have 8 times 6.5 minus 6. 6.5 times 8 is 52. And 52 minus 6 is 46. So yes, we do see that the opposite angles Q and S are congruent. Okay, now let's check to see that consecutive angles are supplementary. So plug 10 in for X at angle R. I have 15 times 10 minus 16. That is 150 minus 16. So it'll be 134. All right, so we need to check that R and S and R and Q are supplementary. All right, 134 plus 46 gives us 180. So R and S are supplementary, and then therefore R and Q would be supplementary. So yes, PQRS is a parallelogram. And you may want to just make a note that measure of angle R plus measure of angle Q equals 180. So there's our justification. The last two examples say determine if each quadrilateral is a parallelogram, and then justify your answers. So they want you to justify your answers based on the 4 conditions from before. Well, on C, we see that opposite angles are congruent. And then we need to check that consecutive angles are supplementary. And you need to check both pairs of consecutive angles. Well, obviously, if it works for one pair, it's going to work for the other. 107 plus 73, and we get 180. So yes, consecutive pairs are supplementary, so then I could say that C is a parallelogram. Okay, let's go ahead and do D. Here we see that opposite angles are congruent, but we only have one pair of opposite angles and we don't know anything about the other opposite angles. We also don't know anything about consecutive angles. We don't know if they're supplementary, we don't know anything. So this one just has not enough information. You could just put NEI. For practice problem E, it says show that the quadrilateral JKLM is a parallelogram by using the definition. So what you're going to do is you're finishing this problem by yourself, and when you come to class on Monday, it needs to be finished. I'll help you get started. What I want you to do first is plot these 4 points. Okay. Now after you have your points plotted, it says you must show it's a parallelogram by using the definition. And if you remember, the definition is opposite sides are parallel. Okay, now how do you show sides are parallel? All right, I'm going to let you think about that, and if you're really stuck, please come see me Monday morning, preferably before first hour or at the latest during seminar. But this problem, E, needs to be finished when you come to class. So that's your homework. Finish E. All right, good luck.